Welcome back to the Means Report, everybody. Happy that you are staying with us, and very, very grateful on this Sunday to be joined by a couple of fine members of our law enforcement community. Hard to believe it was one quick week ago when we were still dealing with the aftermath of the murder of Officer Sandy Rogers in Aiken, South Carolina. It's been a very rough week since then. And the most unfortunate part of all of this is it's the kind of week that we are used to in recent months in the CSRA. We saw the same thing happen with Richmond County Sheriff's Deputy JD Paugh. We saw the same thing happen with ADPS Officer Scotty Richardson. And we wanted to bring these members of the law enforcement community here on the set of the Means Report to talk about how they're doing and just to check in on them, because I know a lot of you have been very concerned. And so we welcome from the Aiken Department of Public Safety, Sergeant Jake Mahoney, and from the Richmond County Sheriff's Office, Captain Scott Gay. And gentlemen, I am so very, very sorry about what you've gone through. And I'm sorry for the reason for this broadcast, but I'm so glad that you're with us and I appreciate it.
I'm proud to be here, thank you.
Let me start with you, Scott, because it was just October when we lost JD Paugh. And I guess my question is, here we are a couple of months later, how is everybody doing? I imagine your hearts are never completely over something like this.
No, they're coping, and every day is better. But what we realized is that although JD is gone, he's still teaching us. Mm-hmm. Every day we remember some of the things that he'd done, some of the accomplishments that he made. So his spirit is still with us, and that's gratifying to us.
How are you all, Jake, functioning day to day with 2 losses in 5 weeks? Is it hard to put on the uniform and the badge and go to work, or is it something that you're so used to, you just do it?
We really don't have a choice. We are driven to serve and to go to work. Staying at home would be the hard part.
Yeah, just doing nothing would be the hard part.
That's correct.
I want our viewers to get a chance to get a real perspective of what's been going on here. We have a story from News Channel 6's Archith Seshadri, sort of recapping the past couple of months in the law enforcement community and in the community at large. Take a look at Archith's story.
You know, our hearts go out to the families, and I'm not sure that it's even really sunk in for most of the community. I think it's just kind of a shock sort of thing that this can't really be happening in our town.
The sign outside of Ryan's Deli in downtown Aiken still has a donation drive for Officer Scotty Richardson, who died in the line of duty last month. And news of another officer killed in the same department has left the small town of Aiken in shock.
It's a terrible thing to have happen in this community, and you're really left wondering, like, you know, just what's going to happen. And the community needs to know that, you know, their officers are protected, they're protected, and, you know, this kind of thing can't happen.
Here's a timeline of the recent officer-involved shootings in the CSRA. Richmond County Deputy JD Paugh was shot and killed in October after checking on a suspicious vehicle along Bobby Jones Expressway. 2 months later, Aiken Public Safety Officer Scotty Richardson was shot and killed after a traffic stop. And just a month later, on Saturday, Officer Sandy Rogers died after she responded to a suspicious vehicle in Aiken.
The mood has changed. It's not this, you know, the nice little sleepy town kind of, you know, that the worst thing that happens is some guy sells drugs or something.
Many officers dine in during their lunch breaks in downtown Aiken.
They weren't regulars, but they came in and, you know, we'd met them, and, you know, anytime anyone comes in, it's fun to chat with them and, you know, just talk about it. They all have interesting stories.
But this weekend, the chatter is about those officers who sacrificed their lives for the community.
It looks the same, but I don't think it's the same, and I'm not sure that it will be the same.
Archith Seshadri reporting for us. One of the things I hate in the news business, and I'm proud that Archith didn't use it, is the phrase routine traffic stop. I'll ask both of you, there's really no routine traffic stop, is there?
I've never seen one.
Is your guard always up, or can you ever assess a situation and say, this is probably going to be close to routine?
You've always got to have your guard up.
No matter what it is. No matter if it's like a woman and a bunch of kids in a car, looks harmless, looks non-threatening, you have to have that guard up.
That's right. The stop isn't over until the violators on their way and you're moving to your next call.
What do you all expect from people? I want to make sure the viewers know this. If they get pulled over, no matter what the offense is, what is our best way to behave at that moment?
I think for me, I would rather that they stay in the car, roll the window down, and put their hands so I can see them at all times.
Right.
Because that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for any signs, and usually the hands are involved with any type of dangerous activity. So if I can see their hands, I'm going to be a little bit more at ease.
How about you? Same thing? Just you want to see them, want everything out in the open?
That's right. Hands on the steering wheel. If it's a nighttime stop, pull to the side of the road and consider the officer behind you where he's going to be. Try to get as far off the road as you can. Keep those hands visible. If you have an interior light, turn the interior light on the vehicle. No sudden quick movements. Wait till the officer approaches. If he's going to ask you for some paperwork, driver's license, registration, insurance, tell him where it is. It's in my glove box. Let them know what you're doing, so they're not surprised by any sudden movements.
Is it okay to keep driving? Maybe put your hazards on, and if you hear go to a well-lit area if you're not sure if it's law enforcement or if you're just scared. Is it okay to keep driving if y'all light us up and go to a parking lot or somewhere where we feel safe?
I think if you slow down and that the officer can tell that you're not trying to elude them.
Right.
And if you're concerned, because that is a concern for especially a single female, call 911 to make sure that it is the police. Because we tell the dispatcher everything that we're doing. So if there's any concerns, by all means, put the hazards on and slow down and go to a well-lit area.
Let's take a look at this guy, Joshua Jones, the suspect in the murder of Sandy Rogers, also the murder of Augustus Casey Weiss, a young lady who was his girlfriend. He had a history of domestic violence complaints on him. And there were questions surrounding, what if they had hauled this guy in on domestic violence charges? Would this have ever happened? I would say that if he had been hauled in on domestic violence charges, you never would have heard his name ever, and we wouldn't have done a story on the fact that they arrested a domestic violence suspect. You have to have something like this happen before people start coming out of the woodwork and asking these questions. And so my point is, aren't there just too many people out there to haul them all in at once and prevent every crime? Just because somebody makes a complaint, sometimes you can't find that suspect right then, right?
Everybody's not where you're going to look for them the first time.
Right.
People are going to try to elude, hide out, run from their crimes and then transgressions. So to go out and say just round everyone up, one thing we cherish in this country is our freedom and the ability to speak our minds. So to just say you're going to round everybody up who's committed a violation, certainly if it's a chargeable offense, law enforcement, regardless of where you are going to give their best effort to apprehend those suspects, but just throwing a broad net out and catching who you can, that's not the way we operate in this country.
How do you feel about a lot of people in the public, and I want to talk about their response to what's happened with your departments in just a moment. But before I ask you to talk about the public's response, tell me about your own response. And you've got to go through a stage where you feel anger. Do you ever want to take out revenge on a suspect? Like say the capture of Joshua Jones. Is there the temptation to go ahead and take care of justice right then? Even though I know it goes against everything you're taught, there've got to be some men and women out there on the force who want to just handle things right then, not knowing what the criminal justice system is going to do to this guy. Is there ever that anger and that rage in the moment?
I can tell you that hasn't been discussed in my department. We are a proud professional department, as I know Richmond County is. We wear this uniform and we stand by what it stands for, the honor, integrity, and service. Our reaction is to see that justice is done. I wouldn't say that is a fair.
Scott, how about it? How do you keep a level head?
Well, regardless of what they've done, they are still entitled to due process by the Constitution. And that's what we live by. I mean, that's our code of conduct, so to speak, and we have to live by it. Of course, everybody gets mad and angry and says, "I'm just going to take care of it myself." Sure. I think that's a natural feeling, but we are professionals, and we have to act like professionals at all times. And even the baddest people in the world, we still have to treat the same way that we treat every other citizen.
You know, it's a great answer on both of y'all's parts, because it also means that you're never stooping down to somebody else's level. You're staying professional and you're staying on that high road, and that's commendable. Let me ask you this, Jake, this Josh Jones character, do you think he was faking it in court the other day when he was acting crazy? Well,
I don't really care to comment about Josh at all.
Did he act like that before then?
I had no interaction with him. Like I said, we've been focusing on what our community is doing for us and what we can do to support the Rogers family and to support each other.
All right, let's talk then about that. I'm sorry, Scott, go ahead.
I can comment on what my observation was.
Yeah.
As a law enforcement person, it appeared that he was faking.
Yeah.
And when they asked him to sign, he stopped and signed his name rather quickly.
Right.
So he was comprehending everything that was going on. And that was just my observation.
No, he appeared to be faking it to me. I could never say that on the news, but it looked like it because of what you said. He would stop and then go again. So this will be interesting to see how it plays out as he makes his way through the legal system. Let's talk about JD Paugh, and let's talk about Sandy Rogers, and let's talk about Scotty Richardson. How does it make you feel to know how loved they were and to see people come out in full force to honor that woman and those men, and to honor you all in general? And Jake, I'll start with you. Your tragedy was certainly most recent. How's that feel to see that kind of response?
It's very humbling to know that there is that much support for the officers, the agencies they work for. You know, it's times of tragedy when you're able to focus and highlight on the good things. You can go either way. You can stay down and mourn and cry just for so long. But the time comes when you can focus on the good things, reflect on what a great officer Sandy was, what a great teacher, and with Scotty. You know, Scotty was a rock star. He had a natural smile. People were drawn to him. He had nothing but goodness in his heart.
Mm. Did you know y'all were that loved before JD Paugh was killed? Did you know people felt that way about y'all?
No, matter of fact, I think that we had the opposite feeling, that people didn't care.
Yeah.
And you know, it still gives me chill bumps when I think of the day, just as Wednesday, when you're driving in that funeral procession and you're seeing the people lining the roads, holding the flags, giving their support to the community. And that's part of the healing process. I think that helps more than anything, is having the community behind you, because often we do not feel that the community is behind us. But in these three tragic events, I think everyone in law enforcement can certainly say that the public, whether you're on the Georgia side of the river or the South Carolina side, the public is behind us, and they stand behind us, and we are very appreciative to that.
Why is there this brotherhood and sisterhood that exists within law enforcement? I mean, I like my colleagues at Channel 12 and Channel 26, but I don't know if I look at them as brothers and sisters like y'all do, your fellow officers. Why is it like that within law enforcement?
You put your lives in your hand, or your life in their hands, and you rely on them to watch your back day after day after day. We spend just as much time with our partners at work than we do with our families.
Yeah.
I think the brotherhood exists because they know that we have their back and they have ours. Regardless of what's happening, we've got each other's back, and we're going to be there. If they need something, we're going.
You know, a lot of, I have little children. I know y'all have children. A lot of, Jake, you do, don't you?
I do, right.
We all grow up wanting to be either a police officer or a firefighter. And as horrible as these last few months have been, I bet you that we've inspired a whole other generation to do that. We're probably 20 years from now going to see a lot more law enforcement officers and firefighters. Y'all are heroes in the truest sense of the word, and I appreciate both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I certainly don't consider myself a hero.
Well,
but,
you cannot consider all you want, but you are 100% one. You are, Jake, and pass along our love to y'all's departments, please.
Thank you.
All right, we appreciate it. Scott Gay, Jake Mahoney, from Richmond County, from the city of Aiken. We're grateful to them forever. We'll be right back.